Is that all there is? Is that all there is? If that's all there is, my friends, then let's keep dancing. Let's break out the...
Your body positional data has been registered with Tacoma's AR network.
My name is Adam Cook, and I am here with Chris White to talk about Tacoma. Chris, how are you?
I'm good, thanks, mate. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited, actually, because Gone Home by the Fulbright Company was one of my favourite games around the time it came out. I was quite late to it, but what we have here is some footage from Fulbright themselves. This actually, I believe, is Steve Gaynor himself playing it. This is the demo you've played. At, I mean, it was a while ago now at the Xbox Indie Showcase. What was it?
I think it was
Xbox at Indie.
Yeah, it was early April, late March. I can't quite remember. But yeah, I got to play.
But this is that build. This is the build they're showing off. Basically, they're not saying when the game's coming out. But I've had a scrub through the footage of this. I've had a look at it that people are going to see. I think it looks a little bit. Oh God, I don't want to say this, Chris. I don't want to say this.
Go on.
Gone Home spurred a movement of a lot of games of its ilk. We've had people on the podcast. We've talked to people about it. We're comfortable with the term Wander Simulator.
Yeah.
You and I both love these games. Most recent of them, What Remains of Edith Finch.
Yeah.
But What Remains of Edith Finch was a lot. And again, I don't think this. I'm saying this as a point of reference. So please forgive me for saying this because I think it's bullshit. But it seemed more gamey.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Okay?
Yeah, of course
I think Gone Home and all that. I'm not one of those. I think it's a game. There's no question. But from what I've seen of Tacoma here, it also seems, again, more gamey than Gone Home was.
Yeah. I mean, there are certain elements that follow that formula of games. I think it does whatever the narrative requires, and I think the game. I mean, it's not a long demo I played, but it was enough to kind of see some of the things you'd be doing, and it's very similar to these kind of games. Whereas, you obviously you're wandering around, you're exploring, you're clicking on things to look at or to read. There's like an onboard AI. I think it's Odin. It's called Odin, possibly, and you interact with that a bit, and it will bring up data points of information between certain people on the ship, like conversations between certain people on the ship, or kind of like documents and that kind of thing. So it is similar to Gone Home in that respect, and sort of similar games in the genre, but I think it's fully dedicated on telling this really quite interesting story. And it's that kind of game where everyone has just been taken away at that specific moment, and as you kind of walk onto there's like a rec room, and you've seen it in the video now, like everything's there's like someone celebrating their birthday or something.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
and you're like, oh my God, what's kind of gone on here? And obviously this came before all these, but I always kind of go back to this game for a point of reference because it was so kind of impactful for this kind of genre. But Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, the way they did memories, very similar to how it's done now. There's like silhouettes of the different kind of
the weird kind of
people on the ship,
polygonal kind of. It's a strange look. I mean, people are seeing it as we're talking about it, so they can draw their own conclusions. But it's an interest. That's one thing I will say. I'm very excited to play this game. As I say, big fan of Gone Home. It's an interesting looking game because it looks to. It kind of, because of those flashback style memory things, it kind of mixes visual genres a bit, doesn't it? Yeah,
it does. I mean, I like the fact that you're not seeing faces, and that's one of the things I love about these games, is because they are the closest to reading a novel you're going to get. You do see the settings and stuff, but you're making these characters up. These characters are created in your head. So the silhouettes, that kind of helps for that, and you feel connect to these people, and it's through kind of what they say more or what you read about them more that you kind of connect with them. There was a really nice little memory right towards the end of the demo, which you'll see is one of the kind of main crewmates is just sat in a room playing a guitar, just playing a guitar, and she's making mistakes, and she's getting frustrated, but she's just literally just passing time playing a guitar, and it just kind of adds to the, oh shit, what happened here kind of thing, and you do get a sense of what happened, to the fact that there's like damage to the ship's hull, and it's breached, and they're basically leaking oxygen.
Okay.
You don't know why, you don't know what did it. It's completely left for you for when the game's released, but yeah, something's not quite right, and you don't know whether it's just an accident, or whether there's another crew member that might have done it, or whether there's aliens. I don't have a clue what the threat is. But it makes you want to know. It looks like a really interesting game, and the art style makes it even better, because it does remind you of kind of. I mean, I've not played Prey, but we were talking about how it's Bioshock in space a bit, and that's how this makes me feel. It's very. It uses the kind of similar colours and stylings that made Bioshock so great underwater, that it has that kind of aesthetic in space. So yeah, it looks gorgeous.
I mean, you mentioned about how someone's just playing a guitar, and I think it's interesting because obviously a lot of people play games for escapism, and there's definitely a case to be made that people want to play a game I don't know, just looking at my shelf, like The Witcher, where you're playing something that's just totally not something you could ever experience in your life. I think there's also something to be said for these games where you're still doing something that, perhaps you're in space, for example. You're not going to do that, but it's also grounded in reality, like you say, that the hero of this game is the character, is the dialogue, is the emotion, the emotion that resonates within you from almost the mundane, almost the normal, while you're also unraveling, like in Gone Home, a larger mystery that again was kind of mundane. Hopefully nowadays it's a bit more mundane and it's just something that is. But I can't wait to find out what the story is of Tacoma. I mean, that's the name of the ship, isn't it? Tacoma's the name of the ship.
That's the name of it. Yeah, I think it does help that Fulbright made such a fantastic game, and when we spoke to him, he was saying how he understands this kind of like a pressure to perform, and he knows that Gone Home was successful, but that's not what he's thinking about. He's just trying to make the best possible game he can, and I think knowing that that Gone Home was exceptional in terms of storytelling, I don't doubt that this will follow in that footsteps, because just from these 10 minutes or so, it's set a scene perfectly. It's already given you these idea of how these characters are and how they kind of interact, but it's looking between the cracks and seeing that that relationship, what has happened to get them to this point. So yeah, it looks like it's going to be a really interesting story, and the fact that it's in space is a complete switch for Fulbright. So it's going to be really interesting to see, how it when it comes to fruition, what the whole mystery is.
Indeed, and I mean, listen, I'm not gonna lie here. I mean, we just want you to see more of the game, so I'm gonna ramble for a few minutes more. But basically, what I want to say is obviously thanks to Chris for his time, but also, importantly, if you do like this, this kind of access, if you like seeing this kind of cool thing, because I'm really pleased, I know Chris is as well, to be bringing this kind of content to our YouTube channel. But if you like it and you want to see stuff like this early, if you go to patreon.com/GodIsGeek, and there'll be a link at the end of the video and in the description, you can actually back us for $1 a month or a pound, whatever currency is your currency of choice or where you live. But if you back us, you'll get to see this kind of thing early, as well as getting podcasts early. And in fact, speaking of that, we've had Steve on the podcast twice. We had him on recently with Chris and Nicola, where he talked more about, Tacoma, obviously, because that's their game at the moment. But in the past, we had Steve on for a real long, hour and a half podcast, where we talked a lot about Gone Home. We did actually talk about Tacoma, because that's how long this game's been coming. Steve, if you're listening, finish your game. Please finish your game. We want to play your game. Chris, thank you very much for your time.
No worries, mate. Thank you.
And listen, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. You got to do it now and again. You got to throw that into a video. It's not natural for me, but you got to now and again just say like, comment, and subscribe. And my name's Adam Cook. You can catch Chris on Twitter. You can catch me on Twitter. I'm not going to list them. You know where it is. And also, we're running out of footage. If you like the slapdash way we do things, make sure you back us. Thanks for your time, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.